I'm Joanne Weiler, and welcome to week 7 of Shine in 2016, all about your good energy. So we've had, last week was just a great interview with Joni Marr, and we've started to look at, how you and how we can all actually tune up our careers just a little bit more so that they are truly an expression of your heart and spirit, and just feeling really aligned is kind of what it's about in terms of having good energy. And so you're probably realizing from the beginning of the series, we were talking about eating well, and Diana Steele talked about choices that you can make, and all of that designed into how to feel more integrated in your body, and then into how do you shop better with Mandy King. And we then moved into the month of February, all about love and your sex life, and how to kind of put more of a stride in your step. Anyway, so all of that body stuff, and now we're moving into more career and more about the body itself. And so what you'll find is that applying similar kind of strategies, you can actually really change the way you feel in your body. So, I do believe that you've got to eat well to get to that place of feeling really good in your body. And when you do feel good in your body, then you can bring your best energy to your life in your career, and live a long time to kind of express your heart through all parts of relationship, career, and friends and community. So you can give more and contribute just the way you want to. Anyway, today I'm very excited to introduce Joanne Mckinney, who I consider to be a real fitness guru. She was around since coming up to 3 decades of fitness, and she's seen the trends of fitness, and today she just continues to really celebrate and live that best expression of the body, truly, in the sense of being younger every year in her body. She's kind of like the story of Dorian Gray. She just never seems to age. And so I wanted to have her part of the series so that we could actually find out what is the secret to that, and staying with that sense of motivation of caring for yourself. So I just want to start today's session with a poem. I just came back from being in San Diego at a conference, and I, at the airport, picked up a little book of Rumi. And Rumi, it says, in essence and form, the word is like the nest. Since we've got this metaphor of the bird and expanding your wingspan, I thought this would be good today. The word is like the nest, and meaning is the bird. The body is the riverbed, and spirit the rolling water. So how do we express ourselves in all parts of our life so that we're really feeling a sense of good energy? And I guess good energy is good love. So let's find out how you can love your body more. So Joanne, welcome to the series. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Joanne. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I just, you've been somebody that I consider a real guru in the business of fitness. And, you've seen a lot of things happen, but in the industry over, pretty much, 30 years of professional fitness that you've, and I just want to ask you, like, what inspired your career in fitness? What got you started in this field?
Oh, well, it's been a long time. I was in high school, and my community rec center started to offer classes to music. And I was in high school, and I went to the class, and I got very excited by the whole energy of the class. And the woman that was starting it, Sue Hill, she was just a pioneer. And one day she was stuck in a snowstorm, and the parks director came up to me and asked if I could take over this class because she couldn't make it. And I was 16 and I was frozen. So I jumped in and taught this class to 100 people. And from there, I just was really, I just loved it. It was just such a great way to get fit. From there, I just followed the path through university, and I went in, and again, I just have always been involved, and I wanted to follow that track of health and wellness, and here I am today still doing it. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, there is something almost like the sense of community that comes from teaching fitness, and
Mhm.
people showing up, and friendships that develop around that. And so, sounds like the sense of being with other people and kind of in that group atmosphere was what drew you to the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And back in the day, people didn't get fit. They had a sport, and then after the sports were over, the research and etc. didn't know how to get there. So the boom of the fitness industry has just happened back then, and it's just continuing to grow.
Yeah, yeah, it's true actually. And I think the nice thing about fitness, it seemed, was that, if you were an elite athlete in school, that would be great. You'd be participating. For somebody who wasn't, say, an elite athlete, then they're just observing. And I think this whole trend of
Mhm.
really just celebrating your body and without that judgment or perfectionism around,
And it's
sport.
great. Everybody has a little inner athlete in them, and it's just wonderful to see how fitness can bring it out, and also for all the health benefits. Cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, all these health diseases, or we can do so much to avoid. So the industry
Mm.
just has, really met those needs.
Can you talk a little bit about more about that?
Well, I think with so many of our health risks, it's the one thing that we can do to diminish or to reduce the chance of getting them. And I really believe that we just all have to find something to move, because our bodies are meant to move, and all research shows sedentary lifestyles lead to chronic illnesses or diabetes, obesity. So we just really have to do it, I believe. And it can be fun. And if you can make it part of your life, it just gives you that whole balance in your day, in your life.
Yeah, and I think that idea of also we're inspiring our kids to do the same if we're living that kind of lifestyle. And I know your parents, for instance, have been pretty active in their own fitness, and here they are in late 80s, right? And really benefits of being active through the life really pay off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As we all look around, the person that's got the obesity, it just will slow you down. And it has, with it comes so many other health risks. So the one thing I feel we can control is how be kind to your body. We do so much for other people, but if you yourself are feeling well, then you are going to feel healthier. You're going to eat better. You're just the whole package is just perfect.
And I think what you're describing too is that what's driving it is that sense of joy and enjoyment of the activity itself. So it's not about the results of, say, having lost weight, lose weight, or gain weight, or whatever the needs are, but to actually just feel good in your body.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah.
felt with when I have 3 children, and well, they're adults now. They would have probably thought I was a bit crazy as a mother growing up, but I think they really do respect the way my husband and I raised them, and the way that we felt that with the stresses of life that kids are faced with, one thing that they shouldn't have to worry about is losing weight, or how do you get in shape, what is exercise. It just should be part of their life without them even thinking about it, so that
Hmm.
they never have to decide at some point in their life, how do I do it, I don't know what to do, and then I'm doing this drastic lifestyle change. So if you can set little changes in people, it just becomes something they don't have to think about. Exercise is part of their daily routine, their weekly routine. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I loved before you were saying about the why of it too. Part of it is feeling good, but also part of it is that it's going to really stave off disease.
oh,
And
huge.
we'll have Jim Bovard, Dr. Jim Bovard, who is head of or Sportsmed BC, and he'll be talking about the research around that too, because there's studies done on rats of like comparatively one rat that is on a treadmill regularly every day kind of thing, and another rat that is not allowed to do any exercise, and what you see is like hair loss. So and degeneration in the rat that is not active, the degeneration in the organs, and just increased risk for cancer and all sorts of things. So it's really, what you're saying is absolutely proven in research, but you are the living proof, Joanne.
The old living proof.
Yeah. So, when you've worked as a personal trainer earlier, how would you keep clients motivated? Because I don't know if you find like sometimes people get very excited about something, but what keeps them going the distance?
Well, I think it has to be enjoyable, and you want to be pushed. So I believe that they're going to come if they want to have me as a personal trainer, they want to be pushed. They want to know that I'm going to safely put their body through a good workout, but at the same time, I want them to come back. I want them to love it. So if a program, a class, whatever, should just be very doable, challenging, but not enough so that it's so hard. It stresses them so much that they don't want to come back. And what motivates them too is by connecting with them. So I always have tried to connect. I love everybody I've always trained, because they all have a story. They all have, good and bad days. Life throws them some punches along the way, and you just want to just work with them based on where they are. If they're tired, if they've been up with kids, or they've got something going on in their life that they're just not 100% feeling great, you just drop it down a notch, and the next week, next month, they're going to pick things up and they'll be working harder. But I just think it has to be challenging, fun, and connecting with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're building relationship, and you've really emphasized that part, because what you're also then modeling is kind of a sense of compassion for the body, so that the client is actually then, in their own good relationship, adjusting if they've had a bad, not much sleep the night before, or making those changes, and that'll keep them coming back. If they're completely, beaten up by the experience, it's not going to motivate them to come back.
And another wonderful motivator is when they see the changes in themselves, when they stand taller, when they can walk faster, when their daily lifestyle, little things that they are doing, they feel better. That little backache is better. The shoulder that had been bothering them is going away. So that in itself just lightens them up, and therefore you get this forward motion of change. They see the hard work is paying off. It gives them a sense of power, especially for people that have not done much exercise before, and you see those little building steps. It's so fantastic for them, and I get so excited when people feel good about themselves, that they've discovered something that they never thought. Everybody has an inner athlete in them, whether it doesn't matter what level you're talking about.
I totally, that makes a lot of sense. And, the more they're feeling good at their body as they are right now, for instance, like somebody who's just had a baby and, has gone through, expanding stomach 3 feet out, and, there's a sort of sense of a loss actually from the body that they had prior, even though there's the sense of also celebration that their body's actually created life. But it's a stage when we want to kind of just really find the positive parts of what the experience has been and build from there. And that's what you're describing. Yeah. And you mentioned, oh, sorry.
You go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you mentioned, building for athletic experiences. Have you ever, what's been your most challenging athletic experience personally, Joanne?
Well, most athletic, having 3 kids. I would say the biggest, that's a good question. Probably the biggest thing I've done was the New York Marathon in 2006. And more importantly, I had had a back injury 20 years before, and just being able to, I forgot all about it, but because I felt so good, I felt so fit. That was a big achievement. Some runs I've gone on, I would say. I don't tend to do big events. I just tend to like the smaller steps along the way. Yeah.
So, but having, a sense of having a goal and working towards it sometimes can also be something that motivates clients.
Oh, absolutely. And the goal can be, okay, when you're going to go up that hill, how do you feel at the top? Are you going to feel really great? When you go and walk around the seawall, how did you feel at the end? Did you feel strong? Did you go skiing and you went down that mountain and you felt strong, or you played tennis? That's what I love about fitness, is that it can allow you to go and do those things you love to do in life. So
yeah, and even as you're describing that, Joanne, your face kind of lights up a little bit, thinking about the marathon experience in New York, which, by the way, I did too with my daughter. And it's just, it's a sort of a life experience that, you share with the people you do it with.
Yes.
Forever. And just thinking about it brings that, joy. Well,
my friends thought my husband and I were crazy, because we did that for our 26th anniversary. We thought we'd do a marathon together.
What a great idea.
Say, don't you just go out for dinner? But
what a great idea. Yeah, and you were also mentioning something that Joni Marr mentioned last week, just about how important it is to celebrate success. And so, for your clients, just to help celebrate their success, because often we're always hard on ourselves to, do one more thing, or make ourselves strive for, getting better, rather than actually celebrating those successes.
Yeah.
And that in itself is motivating.
I think one of the biggest things about fitness is, I'm sure you in your practice would agree, the fitness aspect, we can talk about how it helps for chronic inflammation of the body, metabolic syndromes. The mental aspect is far and beyond. It's just so important. I think when you see what it does for people's happiness and how they feel good about yourself, I think that is the number one thing that that's why I love it. I feel good when I do it. It affects everything in my life. I see it in other people. You see them when they've had a workout. You feel better. You're happier. Your blood's flowing through your body. And I think getting people to love fitness will just affect profoundly everything else in their lives. So the mental aspect is huge.
Yeah, and what you're describing too is that when you're in those states of endorphin and dopamine, it actually builds connection with those around you. So that's also what facilitates community. So, as we get older, and even as younger, like moving through transitions of life, like say for instance, kids moving from high school into university, fitness and exercise is a way of creating that brain state that allows connection. So to help kids navigate the transition into career and starting a new job, and exercise can be the thing that can bridge that and give the kind of chemistry that allows ease in connecting in new environments. So, and as we get older, our lives tend to shrink, because as people around us get sick and some die, there's a sense of slowly shrinking world. So to have to, again, incorporating some exercise actually puts you in a brain state of connection.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what have you noticed? You've been around for a long time in fitness, and so you've seen some trends and some changes, and now, some changes with, the emphasis on posture. Can you talk about that and why that's so important?
Yeah, that for me has been something that's really sparked my interest in the last 5 years, I would say. Basically every thing we do, when you feel good, your posture is good. Most injuries occur because of yeah, everybody brings that up. Right? Everybody just pulled in the stomach and pulled the shoulders back. But everything we do is about our body. A good body alignment equals good health. When your body alignment is out of whack, often that's when the shoulders get sore. That's when you have low back problems. That's when the knees are sore. So it's really what I'm very interested and excited about now is just understanding the biomechanics of the body. We have an incredible chain of links that hook us up. When one of those links is not connecting properly, we feel pain. And we start to move in very poor mechanics. We develop bad habits of movement, which over the time just causes problems. So really, I'm in the belief that we have to understand our skeleton and the muscles that support it and find that balance, learn to move with good intention. And a lot of times as we have aged or gone through bad patterning, and it's the way we are now, we sit a lot. We have the forward rotation of our shoulders. We have lack of abdominal control. Right now we're all sitting on the sleeping giant, our glute muscles. We've not learned to properly fire some muscles that really will keep us in good balance. So a lot of the trend I like right now is seen in some of the areas, fitness industry, is a better understanding of what muscles help that, and the core. Back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't really understand the core. We didn't really understand what that meant and for trunk stability. So that I see as I like to see that movement happening in all, and then you can take that knowledge and take that to all different aspects of fitness areas, sports teams, whatever.
So can you talk about the core then, Joanne? Like, as we're all sitting here right now, I know, I'm wondering, let's talk about what is the change in how we think of the core?
Well, the core, I think for a lot of people, that we hear that word a lot, core. I think a lot of people think stomach, abs. The core, if you can think of everything below your shoulders and above your hip joint, that cylinder, your torso, is your core. So your upper back muscles, your four abdominals, and your glutes, that muscle you're sitting on right now, your glutes, those muscle groups stabilize, support your spine. And if you can strengthen those areas, everything in your life is going to be better. You can hold your skeleton upright. When you go to move, you've got the strength from there to then have the power to run faster, to lift, to carry things. But without a strong core, that link that I was talking about, there's something might not be firing properly, and then you have the rounded shoulders, the low back sway. You have a knee injury because of everything comes from this, strong cylinder of strength.
And what did you call the glute again? I love that. What was the term you just said?
The sleeping giant.
Yeah. I think I have started to get a bit of a sleepy giant because my job is so sedentary. Yeah. And I think a lot of us today are kind of in desks, and there's been a trend now to have standing desks and things like that to counter that.
Absolutely. Nothing's wrong with sitting if you just throughout your day are thinking about it more. I'm watching how you're sitting up a little stronger.
I know. I am. I'm just, you're inspiring me here. I am. I'm pulling in my stomach. I'm thinking about my obliques and sort of like shifting a little bit here.
And it's a challenge. Yeah. Like the way we've habitually moved is to just sort of let everything go. But we can do so much in our daily activity. The way you stand, the way you're sitting on your chair, you can activate your glutes just by sitting on your chair. And just to wake up this gluteal inhibition that has happened. And that, again, with a good fitness program, finding the right fit for you, will just help your whole body strength. So.
Yeah, and interesting too. Like I just was away this past week in San Diego and at a conference, and I was there with a girlfriend, a colleague of mine, and we were talking about movement in the hips as well. You know, like I've got a gal, Leslie White, who is a massage therapist, and I just really have never forgot what she said. She said, "Joanne, you walk like a gorilla," just like boom, 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 instead of actually, come on, move your hips, you know. And she actually described the sense of using my hips like an 8 kind of thing, moving it like an 8. So also keeping some movement in the body as well, right?
Yeah, we have an amazing way our body is meant to move. We want to have stability. You actually want stability in your hips. Your thorax, your upper chest is where more of the movement happens. But again, it's learning these movement patterns. And but if you are walking, gait is so important, and I'm sure Jim Bovar will touch on this next week. The way we walk is huge. Do you walk with your feet going out, in? Do you walk without activating your glutes? Do you walk with a sway back? Do you walk with forward lean of your shoulders? There's so much our walk. Our walk tells a lot about us. So it's a really good indicator when you see somebody walking.
So Leslie was telling me I'm a gorilla.
Well, you're probably pounding the floor.
I can take it. No, I think sometimes just actually that awareness, though, thinking about how we're walking, I love that. And that's going to stay with me today. Thinking about the glutes, what is the best exercise to really engage the glutes, that sleeping giant you're talking about?
Well, the biggest thing would be you've got to really find that mind-body connection. So I would guess if somebody is exercising right now, in some program, I would ask them to be very aware when they're going to do a squat or when they are going upstairs. Really think, are you contracting your glute muscle, your seat muscle? We tend to overuse our low back muscles, our paraspinae muscles, and our hamstrings to do movement. And that's why we call this gluteal inhibition, gluteal amnesia. This muscle group does not fire. So if you are walking upstairs, that's a great way to use your glute. That is the motion that the glute muscle is supposed to be doing. Being aware of it, stair walking, squats, plank, even the plank, which is a fantastic core stabilizer, strengthener. When you're doing a plank, a lot of people don't realize to contract your glute muscles. And they tend to just do a plank and have not even thinking about it. So if you can just bring more body awareness to those muscle groups, your glute, you have 3 glute muscles that make up the seat. If you can really be aware of it, like right now, if you're sitting on a chair, just sort of think about contracting your glute muscles. And and as soon as you do that, you're activating it and you're getting that mind-body connection.
Yeah, no, I'm actually thinking about that right now, and I think I'm sitting a bit taller. Waking the sleeping giant. And for somebody who is at work too, there's a way of incorporating that just in the day, just having those little mind-body breaks, I guess, and squeeze the sleeping giant.
And and I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm always big on the walking. If you're working and you are limited to try to fit in your exercise, walking to work, walking back from, make your distance a little further. And I know we used to say this, you get your steps in, but truly when you're walking and you're with good posture, with alignment, you will use your glutes. You will use your core. So walking is just a fantastic way for your lunch break, whatever. I'm such a big proponent of walking. Hill walking, of course, is going to activate more. So
yeah, and I imagine too, like even for people, at work, they could walk around the hallway and say hi to more people. It's just really incorporating a new perspective of how we can bring it in small and big ways, right?
And use the stairs, the good old thing, elevator versus stairs.
I guess we might see each other doing lunges down the hallway at, on the way to lunch or something too. That might be good. Great. And something else I've heard too, Joanne, is how when we rev our bodies in exercise, we also rev our metabolism, and that actually, lasts. So for burning calories and for those that are wanting to slim down or lose some weight or whatever, can you talk about that?
That's a good question, Joanne. The more muscle you have, the more muscle mass you have, utilizes more energy, uses calories to keep it sustained. When you are fit, when your muscles, you've got more musculature, you can eat more. Your body's like a little fire truck. It just burns everything up, and so it's kind of a win-win. When you exercise and you leave the gym, the studio, wherever you are, your metabolism is going to be elevated. So it's all about, this is about longevity and health. It's how to keep your metabolism going, keep that great working of your body so that when you eat food, it metabolizes very quickly, and you just have this very efficient machine.
So having more muscle mass then, and that's something that we lose as we get older if we we use it, we need to use it or lose it kind of thing. So
Exactly.
yeah. Great. Yeah. And that makes sense too, because I think metabolism changing as we age as well through menopause, metabolism is changing and shifting. And so, muscular workouts can really help rev that. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, what is I've heard some stuff around doing a plank at the beginning of the workout is good for balance. Can you talk about that?
A plank is, and just so I'm sure everybody knows, a plank is when you come onto your elbows and you can come onto your knees or your balls of your feet, and you make yourself like a plank. And in this position, you want it to be all your core muscles that I mentioned activated to hold your spine in a protective, strong order. Beginning of class or beginning of a workout, it's wonderful because it's a multi-jointed exercise. It's a multi-muscled exercise. So it just fires up all these muscles, and especially, more importantly, it activates the inner muscle, the inner abdominal, the transverse abdominis. And this muscle group, and when you breathe, its connection is with your lumbar region of your spine, and it really starts contracting, warming up, protecting your spine. So when you go to do movement in your for the rest of the hour or whatever you're doing, you will have a better warmed up body.
Great. And just maybe let's just go over the different muscle groups abdominally. Can you just kind of go over that, like the rectus abdominis?
So the rectus abdominis would be what we would consider the 6-pack, the 8-pack, when you see those lines that go across.
Which by the way, I've seen on you. You have that.
Well, maybe.
I won't get you to stand up and show us, but
no, you won't. You will not.
So it's the length of the body, right?
Yeah, so that's the one that goes right from your sternum down to your pubic bone. That's the most superficial. Then you have your internal and external obliques on the sides. You can, some people say it's like when you put your hands in a pocket, side pocket, that's sort of your external obliques, and the internal go in the other way. Then deep down, deeper abdominal muscle that is very, very important is you can hear people call it the transverse abdominis, the TA, or you can even hear it say TVA. This muscle, back in my day, we didn't really ever know anything about it. And this is the great thing about the fitness industry. As knowledge is improving, as research is showing, this muscle is so important. It's deep. It's hard to understand. Once you do know how to activate it, your whole strength will just improve greatly. And a lot of people, when they are first working out, they don't know how to find it. And really, it's through diaphragmatic breathing. So as you exhale and you're pulling your abs in, that muscle that is really pulling your belly flat is your transverse abdominis. And once you can really get that connection, your whole intra-abdominal pressure increases, and therefore when you go to do any sports activity, you're going to feel stronger. And I like to use that Serena Williams that grunting that she makes, that pushing, that exhale is her pulling her abdominal wall up against her spine, so therefore she can get power in her serve or whatever.
Yeah, she's a noisy tennis
Yeah,
player.
yeah, noise.
But yeah, so we should be making more noise.
Well,
With our
or just really, like, as I right now, if anybody's watching, pull your abdominal wall in and just see if you can just talk through that. Breathe at the same time, but it's really finding that connection to the abdominals. So we have the 4 apps, so that would make part of our core up.
Yeah, and sometimes actually just putting our fingers together and then breathing and pulling them apart and breathing out and bringing them together, so we actually know that we are breathing down there.
Yeah.
That kind of, yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, okay, moving up the body, what about arms? Why do strong arms help your running pace?
Strong arms, if anybody's run up the hill, you have to power your arms along up the hill to get you there. They're just going to help you so much. But again, I can't emphasize more importantly the core. So if you have strong upper back muscles, when you're running up the hill, your arms then can move efficiently and give you that momentum to get up the hill. So as much as arms are important, it's coming from the core. The core is your go-to first. Most shoulder injuries happen because of the positioning of our shoulder joint. So again, if we're running up a hill with weak upper back muscles, our shoulder joints are probably going to be very stressed. But if we have a strong upper back core muscles, therefore our muscles in our arms then can really help propel us up the hill.
Yeah, I can see just how important it is to be in muscular balance, right? This sense of, just maintaining the balance of the body. Can you talk about muscular balance through the whole body? Like, how does that all work?
Well, it works we're amazing creatures of what one muscle does, the other one does the opposite. And I'll give you a very simple analogy is the bicep. So the bicep muscle curls, brings my fist into my shoulder. The tricep does the opposite motion. So we have this beautiful prime mover with the antagonist that does the opposite motion. So when a muscle is in continual contraction, and I'm going to give you another example right now, we have our pectorals at the front. The opposing muscles would be my upper back muscles. Well, if I'm in a chronic state of at my desk, driving my car, spinning on a bike, too much forward, always tight in my pecs, these muscles are going to be in a chronic state of contraction, and my upper back muscles are going to be in a lengthened, weakened state. Therefore, you get this imbalance that happens that pulls our skeleton off. We get this anterior rotation of our shoulders, causes a little more strain on our low back. So the muscular imbalance is really understanding the marriage between these your muscles, and what you've got to think about the back muscles as well as the front. Otherwise, you get into this chronic inflammation, chronic pain.
Yeah, and this kind of 60-40 rule and muscle strength makes a difference too to how our joints are supported, right?
Well, yeah, and some muscles have, if you're referring to the 60-40, that's generally your front of your thigh, your quad muscles versus your hamstrings. That's a nice balance. And it really is just knowing to work all your muscles. You just can't ignore a muscle, or you'll just end up having a problem. Like if your glutes, we talked about the gluteal amnesia, the gluteal inhibition, sleeping giant. If your bum muscle is not firing, generally what's happening is the muscles on the front are overfiring, and a lot of people get in hip flexors because they sit so much. They're so tight, because if they're so tight, that's meaning reciprocal inhibition is meaning my glutes are not firing. So reciprocal inhibition is, as I contract, my bicep is telling my tricep to contract less. We have this beautiful central nervous system message being sent, okay, Joanne's contracting her bicep, so tricep, I want you to contract less. So we need to know how to really find this balance to be able to send messages to the muscles that are over being used. Our shoulder muscles, we tend to have, our shoulders are always, upper shoulders are always firing too much with stress, the way we sit. We've got to tell the muscles that can work in opposition to that to contract, so these can contract less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd love what you're saying too, Joanne, about just really noticing, the contraction, right? And sort of part of it is what you're saying is like celebrating the body. Like, isn't it amazing that the body knows to do that, right? That we are so wired in a way that we would know to engage, the bicep means to let go of this other part. In a way, it's a metaphor of life, right? About just being in balance, right? That our bodies are in a way metaphorically reminding us that we need the balance, right? We can't just, develop a career without taking care of the body. We can't just, build a house and have babies without caring for a relationship. Everything that we do is reminding us in our body. And with that, exercising, there's a bit of pain sometimes, right? Like working out, there's pain. And finding that just the right balance, it comes from repetition and a little bit of pain sometimes.
Yeah, you got it. It's not all fun.
Yeah. So how do you keep people coming past the pain, right? Just sort of the sense of, yeah, okay, you're feeling your body. Yeah, appreciating that. Like, oh, yeah, I do. I feel that soreness in my arms from working out at the bar method last week. Joanne Mckinney.
It's just encouragement and yeah, I just love encouraging people to do more, to be stronger, and they love it. Nobody likes more than to be told they've done a good job in whatever they've done, right? And from there, they're going to leave and they're going to want to make healthy food choices. They're going to feel it. Just is a great balance that you're doing in the series. It just adds to that beautiful, trickle effect of making good choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And even just thinking about the breath is actually then, if you're thinking about the breath and engaging the core as you're describing, that breath, that extra air in your body and the oxygenated, muscles and oxygenated brain actually is going to give us the energy that we're wanting in our life, right? To be able to then feed our career, our relationship, our home, be there with our kids, contribute in our communities.
Exercise is the one thing that when life is busy and I've seen people through menopause, pregnancies, it's the one constant that they can come to. If they are coming for 1 hour of exercise, it's scheduled for them. They come in. It's something they do for themselves, regardless of what's going on outside of them. It's just the best thing that they could possibly do.
Mm. And spiritually, yeah, to have done something good like that for yourself first thing or sometime during the day, you kind of, you'll start to kind of collect more and more positive information through the day too. Yeah. So tell me about the role of music in your workouts.
Music, that's the fun of the aerobics back in the day. When the boom happened in the 80s, it was all music and we had never done that before. So that was a whole new thing. And it just continually, music motivates. If you get the right beat, you just can move along to that cadence. It's just so fun. It just puts you in, whether it's disco or whether it's the new top 40s, it just keeps you going. It just, gives that little impetus to just work a little harder.
Yeah. And so I'm just sort of thinking like about your career. You've now moved over to be the bar method instructor. And so what was the drive for you to shift into the bar method? Tell me about that.
Well, that was a really exciting thing. I was a personal trainer and had my company for 16 years. When I started to go to the bar method myself, just as a client, I was really interested in the format of the class. I'd never done anything like that. And my own personal gains myself, I started to notice. Again, talking about posture, my posture improved. My abdominal strength was better. Just felt better. My back felt better. I'm not a very flexible person, but I gained some more range of motion, and that is really the key that we're all striving for. So from there, when I was asked would I be interested in becoming an instructor with them, it was really, I was really excited. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so old, really, but I just love it. I then took the course, so that it's a very intensive training course. Anatomy, we write exams, take over a 4 to 6 month period. And I'm now teaching, and I just love it. It's fun. It's challenging.
It does have a really great energy. I know that whenever I've gone there, everybody's starting at the front desk. They know your name, and there's just sort of this buoyancy. You've arrived in this really joyful community. And I think that is, you recently had a back to the 60s special thing too, right? So having those special celebrations are great as well.
That was the 80s.
Oh, sorry.
That was the 80s.
Back to the 80s.
It was, and that was very fun because, of course, I was the 80s aerobics instructor. So I pulled out a few of the old moves, and we had the leg warmers down to our ankles. It was very fun.
I think I saw the photographs of that. Yeah, that's so great. And Jane Fonda, that whole sort of sense of starting, she was such a pioneer, huh?
Oh, she was. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next week, we're having Dress as Your Superheroes with our fitness challenge. So it's really just keeping things fun. And at the same time, you're working hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That sort of fun, things being fun is the thing that will kind of keep people motivated as well. Yeah. So if somebody can't, though, say go to the bar method, let's say they can't afford it or something, what would you recommend as the, sort of ideal workout these days? What would you say?
Well, of course, I'm going to say, please come to the bar method, because we offer so many classes. And the wonderful thing, when you are able to go to something 5 days a week, that cost price really does go down. If they can't, attend to classes of wherever they are, I always say walk, do your planks, do push-ups in a very correct and safe manner, light weights. That, there's a lot of home little fitness regimes that you can set up for yourself.
Mm-hmm. So walking, non-weight bearing, like, would you recommend cycling?
Oh, cycling, absolutely. Anything that's going to get your body to move and then just really think about, and then engaging the muscles that need to keep you in balance. And so, for instance, if you're a cyclist, you really then have to think, okay, that's fantastic aerobically, and I'm working many muscle groups. However, should I maybe work a little bit more on my postural muscles, because that's a little forward, it's not the perfect posture with the rounded shoulders, but just find that balance. And learning how to engage those muscles, as we mentioned, is crucial. Knowing what the core is crucial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is such a nice thing too about when you come to a program that's designed like the bar method. You go, it's going to be consistently healthy there's no sort of room for, it's just very put together and consistently a good workout. Yeah. And so having something that is kind of thoughtful and good for me, and that I can count on, that's going to improve my long-term ability to hold myself in the world, right? That's a good plan.
I always feel if that's going to motivate you to go to for instance, the bar method somewhere, the money that you spend is just so well spent. So, it's just, we spend so much money after the injuries happen with trying to get rid of an injury. I always believe, do something to keep yourselves healthy, so you don't get to that point where you have to go and see, the physios because you're injured. you want to keep your body as healthy as you can by just doing the right things. So it's good money spent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, and then just sort of going over a little bit, like, okay, so the breathing is really important, the plank is really important, posture is so important. What about water? Can you talk about water and how important water is?
Well, water, eating a good diet is important. Generally, I think sometimes we get a little caught up on how many, liters of water we should have in a day. I think if you eat a good, healthy diet, you're going to get a lot of water through that. Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Supplement with water, lemon water. But really, a healthy diet gives us a lot of moisture. It's the unhealthy diets with the salts and the too much, processed stuff that we then really need a lot more water. Just staying hydrated is the biggest key, not just through water, but definitely keeping that going is a good thing.
So, and what role does putting lemon in the water, does that help or?
Well, lemon is not only is it tasty, and we're the idea, I believe, behind the water, lemon in a water, is our bodies like to have a certain pH balance. So we have with a bad diet, a lot of bad foods are very acidic in our bodies. So lemon water is alkaline, so it just helps balance out that pH. And it sounds very counterintuitive that lemon and water, which are both acidic in nature, but when ingested, they become alkaline. So it's a very good, the pH balance that we're working for.
Good. Okay. And so talking about food then, what's the best thing to eat before a workout and after a workout?
Well, again, it depends on what you're doing. If you're going for over an hour's run or something very intense, you might want to have more calories leading into your workout. At least, fully digest before you go in. Like, I think the worst thing people always say, oh, I ate too soon. Having it before an hour, you're going to be exercising is ideal. And then just finding that good, healthy diet. I know Mandy and Diana probably, spoke on it. It's just have some protein, have some, minimal carbohydrates. You don't need a lot, and have fats. Fats are good. Good fats are good. And then post exercise, again, that little half hour after you've eaten, you have a little bit more glycogen uptake. Your body is really saying, I'm going to really utilize these calories you're giving us well, and replace the stores that we've used in that hour's workout. Again, make it healthy. Make your protein, carbohydrate, fats choices healthy.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and Diana Steele and Mandy King, yeah, they did such a great coverage of what will give you the best energy in the food that you're choosing. And I just wanted to ask you, do you use visualization with your clients, like in helping them goal set physically for what they want to achieve?
Yeah, I would say in a way that encouraging especially in the bar method, I often say to them, where do you want to be? Stay in this exercise. Like if we have these really fun 6 minute of really intense thigh work, try to stay in it. Think about where you want to be in 2 months. Your legs are going to be so much stronger. They're going to look amazing. Try to visualize a little down the road, because sometimes when you're in the moment of exercise, it's very hard. Why are we doing these push-ups? Think about those arms you want. Think about, that bike trip you want to go on in the summer. If it's winter, visualize how strong you're going to be going up that hill when you're biking. I use that more for activity level as well as aesthetics.
Mm. And how you want to feel, I guess, at the end of it, to feel in your body at the end. What's that going to feel like? Or even recalling a time when they've felt that sort of excellence in their body and kind of bringing that to mind can be really motivating as well. Yeah, good. And, Joanne, is there like a success story that you can talk about? Somebody that you've been really just, sometimes I see clients and I go like, oh, they really stay with me. I kind of am so happy for them, right? Can you think of a client like that you could share a story?
Well, you'd have to have me on for the next 10 hours. I could go on and on. I could look at What I love about the bar method within a class, I could have in one of my classes, I could have somebody that's training for the Ironman. Then I could have somebody that's preparing for a hip replacement. So we have the great thing, the class is catered to so many people, but you can work at your own level. Just recently, one that is just kind of stepping out of me is a 46-year-old woman that came into the studio. A friend brought her. She was laughing. She said, "Oh God, I've never done any exercise in my life, and I'll just come for one visit." And when she left the class, we were trying to encourage her. Well, come, you've got to come again. She goes, "Oh, I'm too busy. I got 2 kids, and I just can't fit it in." 3 weeks later, she was in my class, and beside her was a newer person. And she started to laugh at the newer person because this woman was going, "Well, I know what I'm doing now." And then after class, I said, well, I shouldn't say her name. I said, "You're doing so well." And she had tears in her eyes. She said, "I have never exercised in my life. I can't believe I like it." And watching her come in now, embracing it, making it a part of her life, is just really encouraging now. And then that's that kind of a person. Then the next person, I can see that somebody that's had a back injury for so long, and all of a sudden they're pain-free. So there's so many people that I just get so inspired with to help.
Yeah, and just giving somebody that opportunity to kind of really celebrate themselves too in that moment. Look at her now encouraging somebody else that's new.
Yeah.
It's just kind of that, and so on kind of thing, paying it forward in a way.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah, rewarding. So yeah, and also I just wanted to ask you a little bit just quickly about like mixing up workouts so that the body doesn't get just habituated.
Yeah, just keep moving, doing other things. Again, you got to do the basics. You've got to work your core. So that has to be done. From there, run, bike, play tennis, walk, try other workouts. Do your basic. It just has to be done. That's really what I feel. It's like brushing your teeth. You got to work your core. But just do what feels good for you, and don't worry too much if you are sort of pretty patterned in what you're doing. You're moving. The body is meant to move. You're going to feel great doing it. And that's the key.
Okay, great. And so Joanne, if somebody wants to get a hold of you or they want to find out about the bar method is the bar method is right across Canada, and it's in the States too, right?
No, we are the only bar method in Canada. So
okay.
there are over 70 franchises in the States. So Carolyn Williams brought the bar method to Vancouver. So I'm fortunate to be involved with the only one in Vancouver. You'll hear other companies with the name bar in it, but we are the bar method. We are situated in West Vancouver and on Beatty Street. And we'd love to, if anybody is interested to come down to class, it'd be very fun. It'll be fun. They will survive. So if they're at all interested, they can contact should I give you the email? Would that work? Or
sure. Yeah, great.
You could just call the bar method 604-925-6199, or you can contact www.west-vancouver.barmethod.com.
Okay, good. And the neat thing is that on the call, we've got some people from the States that are here. So they'll be able to look in the, kind of Google it in your local areas in the States. So there are quite a few people from California that, will be able to benefit from going there. And if they can't go there, I love what you're saying. You can mix it up, create your own workout, keeping those principles in mind, that the breath, the core, staying flexible, staying strong, and that those are the parts that are going to keep us healthy. And we're going to find out more about that next week with Dr. Jim Bovard, who's a sports medicine physician. And he has worked with our Olympic athletic team. He's actually head of Sports Mad BC, and just a sage in the field. So I'm looking forward to kind of deepening the start that we've got today with Joanne Mckinney, the bar method instructor. Joanne, you live this, you walk the walk. I feel so, I think consistently whenever I see you in this health and vitality that is truly infectious, really an inspiration. You model, your life is a model of why it's important to really value exercise and sport and participating in community. I just really want to thank you for coming on this show today and volunteering your time as part of the speaker series for Shine in 2016, Your Good Energy.
Thank you, Joanne. It's been my absolute pleasure.
Thanks. And so for you, the listener, thank you so much for being here today as well. And so you're kind of starting to ask yourself some questions, about how you eat, about how you are feeling integrated in your day, like integrated, being really connected spiritually to your body and to yourself, thinking about how you're shopping for food, kind of outside in, as Mandy King was saying. Sort of thinking about how you love in life, right? We learned that with Maureen McAvoy, and also, Tisha Morgan, and your sexual self and bringing on your mojo, and your just, whether you're in a relationship or not, but just sort of living in that vitality of good energy through your sexual energy. And then we started to think about how do you work, right, with Joni Marr last week. And next week we'll have Dr. Jim Bovard, looking forward to hearing more about how we can actually put to practice some of the research in science and knowledge in medicine and really integrate tidbits of that into life and every day. So I look forward to seeing you next week on the call, but thank you again for being here and committing to the series. I can't believe it. Can you believe this? We're in week 7 already. So enjoy. And if you've got like one thing that's really made a difference for you so far, I'd really love to hear from you, or even just have you make a comment on the Facebook page that is at the bottom of where you're seeing us right now in the video. But thanks for being here. And again, if you're interested in getting the full series for Shine in 2016, you can do that. You can buy the series for $49, and the proceeds of that are going to go fully to the Dress for Success in Vancouver, which helps women get a start in their careers, get a leg up in life, and support their families. And so thank you so much. And so keep on shining. Keep on turning on your light. Make a difference and enjoy. See you next week. Bye for now.